Yeah.
Yeah. That song always gets me in the mood.
Me too.
Gentlemen,
Get pumped up every
what's
time.
going on?
Yeah. What's up,
Jason.
Jason?
Oh
How you doing,
man.
buddy?
That is the best opening, man. I love that opening.
Oh,
Thank
you.
Yeah. I think every time now we do a live stream like that, we always get a compliment on it, Kevin.
We always
You
get a
crush
compliment
it,
on it, and then
Yeah, we
it's
do.
the exact same. We start exactly the same way every single time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
And then we thank them, and then we give credit to Kevin, and then Sean does a spiel about how Kevin made almost every little piece of it, and then this is the first time it's been different because we've commented on it.
Yeah, we had a comment. Yeah, compliment first.
Anyways, Kevin made all the fourth wall.
Yeah, Kev. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, today's episode. Yeah, good work, Kev. Anyways, today's episode is really exciting. We're going to dive deep into AR and VR technology and how it's going to not just potentially help our digital collectibles, but also just everyday life. And what's it going to be like when this stuff takes over? And we're here with our good friend, amazing friend, UpUpCrypto, Jason. Hey, buddy.
Yeah,
Hey, glad to be
Jason.
back. Excited to talk about. I love to talk about this topic, actually. Super stoked.
Yeah, we're 5 days in from the initial pre-sales for the Apple Vision Pro, and we're seeing that it's going to be out in what, like a week, a little over a week, 9 days, looks like.
Yeah.
And then the world's going to see what it's like in person.
Yeah. How long do you think it's actually going to take for them to ship, though? Probably a good amount of time, right? Or do you think they're ready to go?
Man, that's a great question. They haven't really said much about like how much they have ready to go or anything like that. They're being very like hush hush about the headset. So we'll see.
Yeah. Actually, before we dive into this topic, I just want to say we're really excited about the video that was released yesterday. This is going to be a really fun announcement. This is a collaboration with Vivi and another amazing company, and we're helping make that announcement. So we're very excited for this, and we're super pumped to get involved. And big shout out to everyone involved. So we're going to be making that announcement tomorrow in an interview with David Yu. So we're interviewing David Yu for this announcement, and the video will contain this announcement. So make sure to watch the video.
So to answer your question, Joe, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Stay tuned. Tomorrow.
Yes. And Matt loves the intro as well.
Oh, thank you, Matt.
Yeah. And then, but before we get into it, a big shout out as always. What's going on, Bill? Bill here 20 minutes early.
Yes.
Love it, Bill.
Bill's first in line for everything.
So Jason, what are you most excited about with AR technology? Well, first, are you more excited about AR or VR?
I think so I'm actually more excited about the AR possibilities, just because I love the fact that you can layer all the digital stuff on top of or all the digital stuff in the real world. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I'm really, man, there's just so many things. Like, I know, when we get on these live streams and you're like, oh, we got an hour, I'm like, shoot, I can talk about like one topic for like 2 hours. There's just so many exciting things about AR. And I know, like, we all look at it from the little projects that we're in. A lot of us are in like Bat Cows or Broadside or Vivi or Cryptoys or whatever that is. And there's such a huge world out there that utilizes this technology. And I think it's going to be interesting to see like what we see outside of that and what we see above and beyond just like traditional, like what we see as digital collectibles. And I think it's going to be exciting because, excuse me, that's going to help bring in a lot of new users to the space, which I think is going to be very, very helpful for adoption.
Yeah, it's going to create so much utility for our collectibles and create the demand.
It's interesting. I know that they only plan to sell 500,000 to 1 million units in the first year, which is only like 25% of what Apple iPhones were the first year. It was 4 million sold the first year. And they plan to have, I think, 5 to 10 million in the first 5 years or till 2026. So over the next like 3 years or so, or two years. What year is it? Over the next 2 years.
2024.
Which numbers aren't bad, but I do think, Jason, to add to your point, I think this is an opportunity where people are going to start connecting the dots. And they're going to start to understand what these digital collectibles mean. and what it means to the rest of the world, it's really going to open a lot of eyes. And I think that alone is going to help people understand what these digital collectibles are, and what they represent, and the future of what they can contain. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and it's great marketing for the space, and a technology that's going to be inevitably going to stay around probably for the rest of our lives. It's pretty crazy. We have some really cool examples, actually. Boom. Yeah. So Meta already released, I think this is a recent video, I'm not sure. Big shout out to my buddy Tom. Tom has been obsessed with AR and VR tech, and he actually sent me all these links to showcase today. So big shout out to my buddy Tom. Thank you, buddy, for sharing these. So this is the first one. It's the Apple Vision Pro. Nope, sorry, this is Meta. This is a commercial that they made. So this is a commercial highlighting what's like working in the workspace, collaborating, brainstorming. This is really interesting. I'm going to flip like that every time I wear one.
Exactly. You don't, you
hey, digital friends. Oh, sorry, I'm late. Oh,
where are their legs?
I guess no one can be fashionably late anymore.
So the headset that guy put on is actually one of the most popular ones out there right now, which is the Quest 3. That one is like the top tier. That's the competitor for Apple right now.
Interesting. Now, what's really interesting too is that I've heard the display screens on an AR for Meta is only 2K quality, and for Apple it's 5K.
Yeah.
Is that true, Kev?
It is true. So, but here's the thing you have to remember. To be honest, no offense to Apple, that's overkill. The 5K is super overkill because like your eyes this close, 2K is more than plenty. You won't see the fidelity difference really. It really comes just down to Apple wanting the best tech, and they have like already so many components that have 5K screens. So naturally they would use that for their headset. But really when it comes to 2K and 5K, there's not going to be a drastic difference for most normal people. Like for every consumer, there's not really going to be much of a difference. Color wise, that might be a bit different story because they might have a different color science in the Quest 3 versus the Apple Pro. But in terms of like fidelity and everything, there's really no difference, honestly, when you get to screens that small close to your eyeballs.
What about punching in though, making the screens bigger? Because obviously having a 2K screen and making it really big compared to a 5K screen would probably make a big difference. That's the one. No, not necessarily.
No. What are you talking?
Well, like
because remember the screen
it's all going to be here, but the big stuff's imaginary.
Yeah, that doesn't change any. You're not actually scaling things.
I'm still wrapping my head around
the screen is just what's in front of your eyes here.
Well, it's in front of your eyes, but I mean, also the difference space between yourself and the screen, right?
No. It's
I'm still trying to understand this stuff.
This is exactly why I'm excited for this.
Sean,
everybody's like, "What is this? What is this?"
Yeah, well, this is good that we're talking about this because even I'm still trying to understand.
Just think of it like this: like, forget what you see. You're wearing glasses in front of your face. That won't change. The distance, no matter what you see through it, that quality won't change. The only thing that would change in terms of quality, if you make anything bigger, is if the asset that's inside the headset is low quality asset. If you were to zoom in, it would be pixelated, but that'd be true on any screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you watch like a 4K TV, but you have a 1080p image on your 4K TV, the 1080p image is crappy, but the 4K TV is perfectly fine.
It's like if you hook up an Atari
to
your TV and you want to zoom in on Pac-Man, it's going to look like terrible.
This is great. I thought that it was the screen within the seeing the digital screen and the projection the size of it.
No.
All right, well, anyways, on to the next one. That's amazing. So they're talking about the actual the lens that's on your eye, on the screen. Okay. All right. Well, I could have saved us at least 7 minutes. This is really cool.
Yeah, this stuff is great.
So this is actually, it's a render. This isn't actually this is more of a mock-up. But imagine being able to watch Formula One racing, seeing all the cars on the actual track and also seeing the screen, so you get two different perspectives to enjoy at the same time. That's really crazy. Look at that. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
I mean, this is going to be a very near future where this is going to look out of date.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a demo. But wow.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
can see
basketball.
that be like applied for like video games like that have maps on the video game. It's like you have like the actual game in front of you, but then you have like a full like rendering of the map that you're following down below.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's
Man,
been a
that's
few
gonna add a
games
whole
that
new.
have that type of feature. That's pretty cool.
That's so cool. They showed basketball too. I know that was the initial commercial. That seems incredibly complicated because I saw Disney Plus tried to do that with like the Disney toys, and they used a way different. I'm not really familiar with the technology they used for that, but it was very inaccurate.
Yeah,
They got the general idea, but there were a lot of missing pieces, and it didn't look very real. This looks great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, understand these are all demos. These are all demonstrations right now, meaning these aren't like actual finals of what we can do today. But like 2 or 3 years from now, like if enough popularity, if people get into this enough and they demand it, they'll put more money into the R&D for all of these things, and you'll get better and better and better.
Yeah.
Now
this is sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is one of the things that I'm really, really excited about with the spatial computers, and I try to refer to them as spatial computers as much as possible because I see a lot of tweets and I have a lot of conversations where people kind of talk about VR. And when you start looking at the technologies, I love VR. I've got VR. I mean, I've got a Virtual Boy. I've got a Rob the Robot. Like I like all that stuff.
Oh yes,
I do. Fully functional Virtual Boy. But people kind of talk about VR and then they also talk about what Apple is touting as their, spatial computers. And it's such a massive leap. And that's what I'm so excited about, because when you think about VR is really just like a computer generated, closed ecosystem, sandbox. So like, think about like any virtual reality game. You log in, you're in the sandbox, it's all digital, and you're doing things within the game or within that virtual reality space. When you bring in this augmented reality or the spatial computing, and you're starting to get into what everybody's referring to as extended reality, and I think like we're moving towards that. So you're going to mix like AR and VR and mixed reality, and it's all going to be like extended reality. And in a couple years from now, you really won't talk about the differences in all that, because you're going to put on your headset and it's going to be what I feel like spatial computing is going to be in the future. But the cool thing about the spatial computing is that it's completely limitless. And so you literally can do anything in there. And for example, like what you just showed, you actually got to see a real game live. Then you got to see the digital overlay there, and you can do it both at the same time. And that's what's really cool about spatial computing, is that there's at this point now, it's limitless what you can do and what these folks are going to be able to do. And it's across like gaming and all industries, entertainment, and I mean, it's going to be really, really cool. And I think I try to stress that when I talk about this stuff, because I think like I'm trying to get people to think much, much bigger than just, hey, what is my Todd going to look like when I log into this thing,
Yeah.
It's the viewing experience too. I mean, being able to watch multiple screens right in front of you. I'm curious how they're going to be able to attach the different monitors. Say you all want to watch the Super Bowl, right? What's that going to look like if everyone has their headsets on? Is it going to be individual screens? Or going to be one screen that everyone can sync up to? We don't know. But I don't know.
But they're going to look. The people in the room are going to look really silly, though. Not what they're looking at.
Yeah, that's going to really be the biggest thing for people to get over, is just looking what you look like when you wear these headsets. No offense.
Yeah.
Like one of the features that apparently that Apple has like not really revealed or showed yet is the seeing people's eyes feature on their Vision Pro. apparently a lot of the people were like, yeah, they turned that off. They like nobody's really gotten a chance to see what that looks like yet. It's like it might be kind of creepy.
Yeah.
We're all gonna look like Willy Wonka walking around.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Jason, I love that you brought that up earlier, that it's important to think deeper than just about our digital collectibles right now, because we all talk about worldwide adoption. Well, this is the step that we need to create worldwide adoption. Of course, we need the technology to be cheaper, more affordable. We need to have everyone have an opportunity to own one of these, but also how does it become part of their everyday life?
Yeah.
And when it becomes part of their everyday life, then they're starting to connect the dots with everything else. But I think you'll definitely see a lot of speculators start to understand the digital collectible side a lot faster, seeing this technology. And this is actually a really funny one. This is great. Again, shout out to Tom for sending me this one. Look at this. This is a vacuum cleaner. It's like a type of, it's just him cleaning up the floor, but he's making sure he gets the entire floor cleaned.
I would do this all day long.
I would too.
I mean,
this makes vacuuming way more fun.
Yeah.
My OCD heart is glowing right now, just watching all that green disappear.
This is so satisfying to watch.
It is. Earn Dogecoin for vacuuming.
I could watch a YouTube video of somebody doing this for like 45 minutes probably.
Really?
Don't lie, you already did.
Wow. All right.
Oh my gosh, this is great. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, it's already played like 5 times and I'm not done. I'm still enjoying it.
I know, I'm still enjoying it.
So here's my opinion. That's annoying. I hate that so much. Especially if someone else were to come and be like, you missed a spot. I'd be like, I'm going to
yeah. That I would be
There's
so
no way.
I'm already like
green stick. You just walk by. Oh, you missed a spot.
Before we get into the next one, Sean, I want to quick shout out people in the audience. Fro, what up, my dude? So Kevin,
Hey.
what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Turn your hair into an NFT. Think we can make that happen?
Oh, for my hair. Oh God.
What's going on, Luke?
What's up, Luke?
What's up, Omar? Hey.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Buddy. What's up, buddy?
What's up, sleeping? And then lastly, Bill, I just want to say I've seen the first couple seasons, but I haven't seen the most recent one. But yeah, good show, and it does show some pretty cool examples of people doing VR and the whole upload of people's consciousness and everything. Yeah, it's a cool show. I think it's on.
What show?
It's a TV show called Upload. I think it's on Prime. I think if I remember.
Never heard of it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, like people's like consciousness, like after they pass away, or if they like get in an accident before they pass away, they can upload their consciousness into this like virtual like retirement community type thing.
Yeah,
and then people just like live there in this like virtual reality, and they can. Yeah, it's kind of it's a cool concept. Yeah.
It sounds awesome.
Stacey showed that to me. Yeah. It's a actually pretty good show. I've only seen a couple episodes, but from based on what I've seen, it was pretty cool. A really interesting idea. Oh man, and here we go. So this is more like basically 3D monitors, being able to play video games. We're avoiding sound for copyright issues. We don't want to get banned or blocked off of YouTube. That happened last time. I think Jason, you're on that one. But I've also seen examples of this in 3D. Like you see Mario playing Mario in 3D, and you can like walk around and he can, you walk around a 3D model of him actually going down the lane or the video game and seeing all the assets in 3D. I think that's an interesting style of playing. I'm still used to this. It's gonna be hard for me to wrap my head around that, but still really cool.
That's still really cool.
Man, I've always said that the video gamers of the future, the gamers of the future, are going to be the most fittest, strongest, buffest human beings on the planet. And the reason I say that is because like video gamers understand how to grind. Like they'll sit there and grind to find a sword for like days on end. I mean, I've been on games for like 10 hours straight. And so you think like now you add augmented reality, and I was super excited because there was like something missing that I kind of was trying to wrap my brain around. When are they going to get this component? And that component is the mat that Disney announced. And so that's a completely the flooring, that's a completely that's one of the final pieces, because you've got all the haptic suits and gloves, and so you can get the feeling from an AR perspective. You've got the spatial audio and the spatial computing coming out through Vision Pro. And so so I sit there and think about, like, okay, if I want a Call of Duty experience, like a fully immersive Call of Duty experience, what do I need? And I need something to be able to run in place. And so that was the final piece of that.
Yeah.
And imagine like being in, like dropping into this full on immersive world where you're playing with all Call of Duty or any of those other games. But think about it, like you're going to be running and using swords and all. Imagine like a guy like trying to sword fight for like 10 hours in a row. These guys, you gotta be like, you got to bring it. You got to be healthy to do all this stuff.
I mean, I remember my arm would get sore playing Wii Tennis and playing Zelda, playing Twilight Princess, swinging the sword, like totally.
Like a right 50-inch bicep on your right arm, and then you got a nerdy left arm.
Hey, Sean, look it up real quick. I think it's called Hollow Tile. Disney Hollow.
I had that.
We're going to be talking about that one.
So I'm glad that you guys mentioned it.
Yes,
nice. That's definitely coming.
Yeah, I saw that video too, and I was like, "Wow, that's."
Do you want to bring that one up now?
Well, we talk about it.
We're talking about it. Yeah.
There we go.
There it is. Yeah, dude, that's is
so cool.
Crazy.
Yeah. So this is the Disney research team. This is through Disney.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's crazy because you can have multiple people on there walking in completely different directions. You can also control other objects through like a glove or other system. So a stationary object can be in there and start moving, and you can control it from outside of it. This is the kind of technology where I was like, this is what we've been waiting for. Like you said, Jason, like, Disney, I can't even believe R&D for Disney right now is like off the charts. The stuff they're making for so many different things is crazy. But this is that game changer thing where I'm like, all right, Disney, you took that first like
sitting on a chair too.
Look at that, and another person's controlling it. Yeah.
Oh my!
Like imagine you have a whole room that's like has this stuff on the floor.
Literally,
you have multiple people in the room.
Professor X.
There's so much you could do. Oh my God.
Man, the crazy thing with something like this, and we talk about adoption and mass adoption, and my mind and a lot of our minds go to like gaming and stuff like that. But like, think about like mental health. Think about folks that are like coming back from war and they need to rehab. Think about folks that are in mental institutions and they're in action. This like opens up so many options across like all industries. And so when we talk about mass adoption, and I think like, gaming is going to be huge. And I don't even think gaming is going to be, like traditional gaming. It could be just anybody logging into, this and doing something and earning and having fun with your, friends. But like, there's going to be so many use cases. And that's what I'm really excited about when it comes to like AR, is like all the other use cases that people don't think about. Because then you think like, okay, let's just say a non-gamer or a non-digital collectible or collector or whatever come into this system, and they're like, wait, I can do all these cool things in this AR, in the spatial computing realm, but like, I don't have anything. Like, how do I get that, golden moment? Or how do I go get that Batman? Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's VV. Oh, it's, DC. Oh, it's Broadside. It's, whatever. And so that's the cool thing. So like, you're coming at it from many different angles.
Yeah, you can definitely see that Disney is, thinking of long term about why, there's a reason why they're releasing these digital collectibles now, and like they're thinking about what they're going to be used for in the future.
Yeah. And that's why I'm always like, hey guys, like, yes, I think mint numbers matter. I think having cool mint numbers is awesome. But like when I see people say like, oh, they minted too many, or there's too many of this, like, I have yet to see any collectible come out that the mint number is even remotely relevant. So like if somebody comes out with 100,000 items, yeah, if you're looking to flip it for a 10x today, okay, I get it. Like you're thinking in those terms, but like 100,000 units of something in the digital realm when there's billions of people getting ready to log in, it's not even close. The supply is not even going to be close to quell any of the demand in the next 5 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And this makes me so bullish on Disney and Web3. Like seeing this, showing that they're all in on this type of technology, and not just that, but they're creating this type of innovation. It just blows my mind. I mean, Kevin doesn't get impressed very often, and Kevin is blown away right now by this stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, when I saw that the first time, I was like, "Oh, holy crap!" Like, because there's other companies that have tried to do similar things using like low traction shoes, other other components that moved and helped
like
you
a
move.
crane that hooks to your back or whatever.
There's so many different versions that people have tried, but that one to me was the one that I was like, "That's how you make it work." That's the thing that they need to develop more and more and get better and better at, because that'll be the game changer, honestly.
Yeah,
people will set that up in their houses.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. You could take a small room, stick that mat in a small room, put pads on all the walls, and then that room could be absolutely anything that you want it to be on the planet. You want to sit and have a drink on the moon, boom. You want to sit on the beach, the 4 of us can log in and talk and do a live stream in AR, using that. We could all be Professor X, and you could control my little
play bumper cars.
I mean, I can't wait. It's gonna be so cool. But yeah, I really want to play like a Call of Duty or like an Apex or a Fortnite or something like that, and think you're actually running. You can, man, it's gonna be
What do you think? Like, if you're actually like running, is great point, Bill. Like, do you think like running would be tough on these things? Like trying to slide to like that's like a whole like interesting component to make sure it's like it's safe for people too.
Definitely right now it's probably very minimal. You probably have a certain speed that you can go at. But again, things are going to evolve, get better iterations and all that. And at some point, it's going to also come down to people getting used to the technology. Like at some point, we're going to be more aware of our surroundings when we're using these things by using it more and more. So it's going to be also up to us to kind of make sure that we're being more safe, like the the Wii thing. Like people used to throw it at their TVs. They had to get used to like, we got an object in there.
So you got to put a little wrist thing on it, a little bracelet. Make sure you don't throw it too far.
It's like learning. It's like learning how to ride a skateboard. You just once you learn how to use it, you get comfortable with it. It's like breathing to you.
Exactly.
Oh, a year from now, it's going to be the most ridiculous TikToks. I guarantee. There's these TikToks from a year from now.
Especially now that TikTok has announced that they're getting involved in Apple Vision Pro.
I wanted to switch this because every time I featured somebody's comment here, then I felt bad that I was covering up Kevin's face. So I felt better about when I click on the comments, then I feel better about covering up my own face. So
I just thought we were playing musical chairs.
No, we can cover up Sean. Well, let's cover up Sean. That's better.
Yeah, Sean, that's fine. There he goes. He's gone.
There we go. Perfect. Agreed. Definitely like a workout. I'm gonna say it's good, Quinn. I was gonna say you're definitely into the VR and the AR. You got the goggles and the avatar.
Look at that. He's already got it.
You're already ready for us. And what's going on, Evolved? How are you doing?
Hey, doing well. Hope you're doing good.
Oh wait, Sean's gone. He's actually gone. Wait, what?
Oh, he actually disappeared.
Did he take that opportunity to go to the bathroom?
Life is great. Oh, dang it! No.
What if I just
that was good. That was a good bit.
Heard from me again.
That's a really good bit.
It'd be great if we just continued without you. We were like, all right, go.
But yeah, that gets you really excited, right? Because that's the big thing I was really really against with the devices that you have to hook onto, and like you're held up like a puppet, and you're just running around. And I'm like, that's all right. But seeing that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's where it's going. Yeah, I'm weighing on this. Yeah, very cool. And then I thought this was really interesting too. So this is apparently it's an app the DJ app AI mixer, the Apple Vision Pro.
Interesting.
Oh, cool.
And my head started spinning when I saw this. Because I mean, obviously for creativity, this is amazing. Being able to learn how to even learn how to use to be a DJ, can learn how to use the devices, but also I'm thinking about digital ownership now, because I know that there's been a bit of a pushback on content being released on streaming services, like for example Disney Plus. Like for example, there was a show called Willow, and it was a sequel to the original film, a series that was released on Disney Plus, and they took it off, and now you can't find it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we don't have an opportunity to actually get this show anywhere anymore is heartbreaking. There was another show called Prop Culture about a guy, really awesome collector, who travels around the United States and I think the world to research these different props that were used in films. And he interviewed famous actors and filmmakers and artists. And he did films for that focused on Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Nightmare Before Christmas. And it was really, really awesome. And they took it off. The show's gone. And I've referenced that show multiple times, and now you can't. I know where to watch it. So having an opportunity to buy that digital series, maybe in the format of a Blu-ray or a VHS in digital format as an NFT that I now own, and you can use that on your Apple Vision Pro, and I own that asset. I think that's a cool opportunity. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean that makes perfect sense. Like if you buy something, you should own it. Like that is part of that thing. That's why like streaming services are kind of like I'm not the biggest fan of. I get the convenience of them sometimes, but yeah, because like you're giving up any control over the media on there. It's all up to that company. That's why to me it's like I like buying things digitally, but I'm starting to buy a lot more physicals again because I want these objects. But if you purchase something and pay for it, you should own it. That is the whole point and purpose of transactions.
But that's the problem, like you said, with streaming services, right? Because you're paying for the service and not the individual assets.
Exactly.
Yeah, the cool thing about that is, especially with everything being on chain, and it's the way that I always look at NFTs. I don't look at NFTs like a digital collectible. I look at NFTs as a total technology. And so as these smart contracts are getting built out and things become more tokenized, the example that you just provided is going to allow a creator to create something, music, a show, a movie, etc. And I'm going to be able to support that creator by buying that. We both own it. If I sell it or if I re-show it or whatever I do with it, the smart contract is going to allow revenue in perpetuity for everybody. The creator will constantly get, a revenue stream from it based on, the smart contracts that are getting built out. And it's all through NFT technology. And so that's going to be really, really, really cool for everybody.
Yeah. Actually, you brought up a really great point right there, which is the revenue. That's another issue with streaming services. These people no longer get revenues for being the creators, the makers, the people who star in these things. They no longer get revenue for that. Like it used to be that when you would put a movie out or a TV show on TV, you would get revenue for the rest of your life. You would get, a small percentage of those sales and all of that money. Now with streaming services, that doesn't exist anymore. That's actually one of the reasons why the actors went on strike recently, why all of that happened is because of those things. They're still trying to correct them. There's still things that are going to need to be worked out, some kinks, but like that's another big, huge issue. And that's where like digital and having an NFT will help you with your work and your creativity.
Yeah. Tokenizing creativity is going to be huge for all of this. And you're going to get people like us who are going to be a fan of somebody, whether they're a musician or an actor, etc. Maybe an actor comes out and says, "Hey, I want to make this TV show. Who's in?" And we all buy, a share of that, and that could be through an NFT release, through some type, whatever. And so it's going to completely change the game.
Here's a good example. Snoop Dogg recently came out and talked about Spotify. How much do you think 1 billion streams of his music? How much was he paid? Does anybody have an idea?
I already know the answer, so
I've already seen it. I've already seen
yeah,
it.
I already know the answer.
$45,000 for
Yeah.
a billion streams on Spotify. A billion streams.
That's
That
ridiculous.
that is embarrassing. Like how can Spotify think long term that's going to work? Like no one's going to want to do that. And then you flip that. So here's an example. So the ideas that we were having right now, are there any examples that have happened already? Well, there are. Tory Lanez, for example, a well-known rapper, sold 1 million copies of his album as an NFT in less than 1 minute for $1 each.
Yeah.
Now you think, okay, $1 each. Why would he sell it for $1? He made $1 million. It's great in less than a minute. But he's brilliant because now every time that album resells, he's getting commission for life.
Yeah.
No one's getting commission off physical albums that are 20 years old. Some of these albums are worth, thousands of dollars, and they're getting no residuals from that. But Tory Lanez will from this album, and that's why I think that this is possibly the future.
Yeah,
this is really exciting. To see those kind of examples.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. Tokenizing any asset. I mean, it's why every brand and every company that can possibly tokenize something is going to. And if it's even, like stuff that's already existing, like we've talked about collectibles that have been on the marketplace for 100 years or 50 years, authenticate those items, tokenize them, and boom, all of a sudden you've just created an additional revenue stream for your organization. Like think about it. Think about how many collectibles like Hermes has out there, or how many collectibles Coca-Cola has out there over the last 100+ years. Imagine authenticating all those, tokenizing all of those, and then allowing, the user, allowing us to buy and sell through NFT format, through NFT technology, and we'll all be incentivized. Coca-Cola is going to be incentivized because of what you guys all just said, revenue in perpetuity forever. I'm going to be incentivized as a buyer and a seller because I know this is 100% an authentic item created and made by Coca-Cola. Why? Because they put their seal of approval on it. They've turned this into a token. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. And also in this example that you're showing here, Sean, especially in the other pictures, I'm imagining you're talking about practicing. Like, I feel like, for a lot of people, like getting up on stage and actually performing for people is like a whole big thing. But you could put on like a digital concert pretty easily, invite a bunch of your friends, and then it's all in a VR environment. Great place to practice before actually, taking it to the real world. But even like big time artists, it's like, you sell tickets to a virtual show, and, instead of having to, I don't know, just like play your tracks, you're actually DJing live in VR for everyone. You're actually putting on a live performance for them. So like they actually feel like, they're actually getting something beyond, I don't know, just a regular recorded performance that, they get to show up to.
That's such a great point, Spencer, too, because think about like the comfortability in that. So for example, like you just brought up Snoop Dogg. Let's just say you wanted to go hang out with Snoop Dogg. There's like from an artist perspective, Snoop Dogg is not, how often are you going to be able to just walk up to Snoop Dogg in the real world scenario? Not very often, probably never. I never have. But like in the digital space, it gives you an opportunity to, and you can be anywhere. You could be in Africa or Indonesia or Antarctica and have that opportunity to interact with your favorite artist or celebrity or, whoever. It's
yeah, absolutely. And to take what you just said, Spencer and Jason, and take it even further, just for everyday life, being able to train on these devices like this, for example, it costs so much money to train people how to use the equipment on airplanes, especially when you're trying to check the equipment. It's so difficult to do and very expensive, way more expensive than I thought. Really, really expensive. So being able to do it digitally, that feels pretty much authentic when you see the real thing in person, that you won't skip a heartbeat and you'll skip a beat. That's pretty incredible opportunity. Like, look at this. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This is going to change everything.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really cool is that if you start delving into VR, AR, extended reality, etc., it's been around for a long time. The first VR glasses were invented in like 1968, and so I know we have a little sticker shock when it comes to, you know, the spatial glasses coming out at $3,500, but augmented reality has been around for a while in industrial cases, but we're talking about like maybe tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, where, you know, folks are utilizing it in, you know, as an airline pilot, or in, you know, different industrial fields where they're doing something similar to this. And so $3,500 is actually relatively inexpensive based on historical prices to have this technology. And we know the prices will get a lot better for us, and we've seen it with past technologies. And we want that for, you know, for home use, for individual use, as opposed to industrial use. But I think like all of that stuff is going to it's going to be a mainstay. I mean, it's just so obvious. Like, it's think about it. We use like what are we doing now? We all are either at our laptops or our computers, or we logged into our phones to listen in on this. This is going to be 1 year from now. This technology is going to be like us talking about playing NES. I mean, it's going to be like obsolete, because we're going to all put on our augmented reality, our spatial glasses, whatever you want to call them. And it's going to be the setting is going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And Jason, to bring up what you just said, I mean, you inspired this tweet that we tweeted out recently. And we talked about the prices of a lot of this technology when it first came out. Like in 1975, the first Sony VCR cost $1,500, which is equivalent to about $8,552 today. In 1982, the first CD player came out, or CD player. It cost $730, which is about $2,320 today. Plasma TVs, when they first came out in 2003, I remember I had a buddy that had one. He spent like 10 to 15 grand on it, and it was 2001 or 2, maybe 3. Yeah, it was early, and it was incredible. He had it for a while, and that blew my mind. But he paid a lot for it, and that thing is $16,000 equivalent today. And then here in 2005, you know, Sony Bravia LCD, when the LCDs first came out, it was cost around $4,000 for a 40-inch TV, and that's about $6,238 today. The Apple Vision Pro is going to cost $3,500, and you get basically all of that in one. And that's what really is trying to highlight here, is that all these prices aren't out of the question, considering what you've looked at in the past, and you're paying for individual, you know, these individual items for the one thing that they can possess, but this thing contains all of it. It's kind of like buying an iPhone. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Any of you guys buying one?
No.
No.
So like to piggyback off of all this, like
this is the best thing ever. Who's buying?
Yes, I agree. I agree with everything that was said here. However, you have to understand that, like, ultimately, it is still $3,500. It is still a sting to people right now. This price and this product right now isn't for the mass market. It really isn't. That's not the point of this. This is the first iteration. This is the first one. A lot of developers are going to buy this, which is what they should be. A lot of people who own companies who want to start making stuff for this, they're the ones who are going to pay this, because that's nothing. That is nothing for them. So like, and the next generation, the generation after that, when it becomes a little bit cheaper and has more features like better battery life and like a few more things that you consumer, when that happens, that's the one I'm going to buy, because that's when it's like really more for us. Right now, this one, great. I'm so happy it's here. I'm glad this is happening, but it's really not for us at this point. But it's a great starting point, and I'm excited for the next one. The next 2 iterations are going to be the ones you should be like so excited for, in my opinion.
But if you have the money to spend, it could be a fun thing to play around with, or a good collectible. I mean, I'm sure if you keep this thing if you keep it still sealed 10, 20 years from now, and there's 20 iterations of this thing, it's like the early, I think it'll probably do really well. I mean, we've seen what's been the highest sale so far of the first generation iPhone, Sean? It's like 70 grand or something like that.
No, I believe it's like, I think we saw 6 digits. I think it passed.
I was about to say, I think it was in the millions.
No, not the millions, but definitely over
Like
100,000.
over 100,000, I think maybe. Yeah.
And we've seen like the iPhone, the original iPhone, or sorry, iPod. The iPod is sold for tens of thousands, and what else you got? Apple. There's the iPhone, iPad, oh, the Apple Watch. I think there's definitely some big sales up there as well. So it's interesting though. I think the cat's kind of out of the bag for that. So you're definitely going to have more editions for people. They're going to be holding on to it.
Yeah, there's just definitely gonna be a lot more that are sealed because people buy it. Yeah.
Yeah. But that being said, I mean, supply and demand. I mean, there's less than 1 million published first editions of this product. So, and Apple had 4 million. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see all the different use cases that pop out of this. I have a feeling that there's going to be some things that none of us have thought of, or most people have not thought of, and it's going to be really interesting and really cool to see what people are going to do with this.
Yeah, definitely, and especially when Unreal gets involved. I mean, just look at this, dude. Unreal Engine, man. That's crazy. I mean, can you imagine playing horror video games with Unreal technology?
I don't think I can.
That's going to be crazy.
I don't want to.
God.
I don't want to. I want to.
I already don't watch the movies. I'm definitely not gonna. I'm not gonna ramp it up and do this.
So we're definitely in. I know we're gonna be in.
Yeah, definitely. I want to play a zombie game in this world.
I played Zelda or Mario, but I'm not playing a zombie.
Well, so like Zelda, that'd be cool. Like RPGs, especially when you get to be in these fantasy worlds, and like
that's
really
what I'm like the most excited about. Like if I can play RuneScape, cool. Like in that kind of an environment, I'd be so stoked.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really excited to see how renting is going to come into play. I mean, we saw a tease of that during the bull run in 2021. I mean, Spencer, you could speak to. You're much more involved in renting collectibles, play and earn style gaming. So you dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely. I think when you have items that are really useful in a game, and you have somebody who owns those assets but doesn't have the time to actually play that game, and you have a renting system in place where people can rent those out, where people who have the time can actually go and play the game for them, and earn like you can earn a commission for their performance in the game, or you can earn whatever, or just get paid for the time for it. Yeah, I think it's hugely useful for gamers and both I guess owners of gaming assets who don't necessarily want to play and people who actually want to play. Yeah, I think it's gonna be hugely significant. Like Splinterlands was definitely one of the big ones during the last bull run that if you owned a ton of those assets, you could make actually a pretty decent income renting them out. And I'm sure as more and more games get popular, that's just going to continue to be the case.
I mean, think about this, and I don't even think I can wrap my mind around this, but think about this. Everything is moving towards, interoperability, and everything that you want, it's going to happen. And it's the reason why I don't really think about it or talk about it, because that's just the movement. That's just the way that things are going to be in the future. We'll get there. But think about this. How many DeLoreans are there in VV? Do you guys know what the number is off the top of your head?
I
think was it 30,000? 32,000. Oh, it's total editions across the collection.
Like the one of one, not the one of one, but the one that was the model. It was the actual size of the real DeLorean.
Oh, the 1-to-1 size, like interactive. Yeah.
You know what the number of editions was on that?
Ooh, I don't know off the top of my head.
Like a couple that wasn't it? It's just like a few thousand, right?
For that one, yeah, it was definitely going to be lower than the.
Let's just say it was 5,000. I'm going to put a big number there. 5,000. Okay, all of these racing games that are going to be interoperable, where you can bring in any vehicle that you want if you have it tokenized to race, whether it's whatever, Grand Theft Auto, whether it's Gran Turismo, name your favorite racing game. And we're talking about 5,000. When there are hundreds of millions of people logging in to play these games all over the place, 5,000, there's only 5,000 DeLoreans.
5,888.
Think about that. Like, and so and I, hate to keep going back to Vivi, but it's a popular site. Like, you have all of the, like the Marvel Mighties, when there's a PvP game, there's nothing in, I mean, I go into the marketplace and I look at like how many available for sale. There's 108 of these for sale. There's 23 of these. There's 16 of these. Oh my gosh, there's 280 of these. There's way too many. Like, come on. When a million people or a billion people are all in AR looking for digital assets, etc., and they want like official IP, that's why I'm like, I don't care about mint size. If I like it, I'm gonna buy it. You know why? Because like 5 years from now, the people that are like, oh man, there's 5,000 of these, too many of these, and you're buying them for $2. I mean, all you have to do is just think supply and demand. We all went through school and we learned it. And supply and demand always wins. It always wins. And when you have a high demand on digital assets and low supply, and is 10,000
for a highly popular IP?
Yeah, like it's man. Look, I just stack. I don't care what anybody else does. What I like to stack,
Good man.
buy every saber you can, lightsaber you can, man. I think
we're working on that. We're working on that. So, I mean, here's a great example. I think it was a knife skin from Counter-Strike, sold for over $500,000, and this was like 8 or 9 months ago. This wasn't even an NFT. Like, they can't rent this thing. They can't trade this thing. It's just something they want to use in the game. And I'm presuming it's not play and earn, right, Spencer? This is just a game.
Counter-Strike? No.
I'm not super familiar with Counter-Strike, so I'm just assuming.
Counter-Strike's the most one of the most classic like first-person shooter games out there. It's like it doesn't get like traditional Web 2 gaming in that.
Yeah, but here's a great example. Look at the amount of money this person has spent on a game purely out of the fun and love of the game. And now you bring in play and earn style gaming and renting. People are loving the game, but also incentivized to play. Who knows where these things will go?
Exactly.
And there's been people who've had their accounts pulled, who have had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Counter-Strike assets on them. That Counter-Strike, the company decided that they violated terms of service in some way and just pulled their account, and then just like that, boom, all the assets gone.
Yeah. When Counter-Strike is a P2E, and that asset is a token, man.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you look at all the stuff that you guys have been stacking and collecting in your favorite, with your favorite NFT company. Oh man, it's just, I'm sorry. Like, FUD away, man, FUD away. I'll just keep because like
FUD doesn't affect Jason. It just bounces off him.
I
just think like, dude, how can you not see this, man? Like, it's just crazy. Just crazy.
That's a big reason why we, for like the lightsabers, and we've been public about that, stacking those especially the Skywalker lightsabers. I don't know what they have plans for in terms of gamification. If that ever does come to fruition, I presume there's going to be some type of utility for that collectible, whether it's at the VBverse or potentially an AR. I don't know, but I will say, just based on popularity alone of lightsabers, and Kevin, you can speak on this more. It just doesn't even come close. I mean, there was an article, and we talked about it multiple times, from Time Magazine. They talked about, you won't believe how many lightsabers are sold every year. And over 10 million lightsabers are sold every single year. And that was from 2014.
Yeah.
From 2014.
Sean, I got a question for you. How many lightsabers are there? The Yodas. How many Yoda lightsabers are there?
There's about, I think, 19,000, 18,000 around there.
We'll bump it up. 20,000. We'll make the math.
Okay.
There's 20, we'll say 20,000. How many sword fighting games are there?
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of sword fighting games. Now, when all of those sword fighting games become a P2E, and then everything is interoperable, and you can choose between a He-Man sword or whatever you want, 20,000 Yoda lightsabers are going to, who's going to want to represent and have a Yoda lightsaber? A lot of people.
Yeah.
Way more than 20,000. It'll be millions.
Even just within
millions
Star Wars games, there's millions of people.
Yeah.
Not even including bringing them
Yeah.
into
So,
other
like, that's why I'm like,
environments too.
people,
Yeah,
just
just Star
think,
Wars
like,
is
come on. Like, step out of your little bubble and like start thinking on the grand scale. I mean, there's 4 billion Chinese folks. They want a Yoda lightsaber. 4 billion people are going to be duking it out over 20,000 Yoda lightsabers. I mean, what is the floor right now? Like
for it's like probably around 13, 14 gems.
Yeah, it's kind of been
it's like one.
So
yeah, it's 1/4. Yeah.
So what happens when let's use some more realistic numbers. What happens when 10 million or 1 million people want 20,000 of an item? If you want to know what happens, look at Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I mean, you can figure it out. So that's why I'm like, man, like if I was a betting man, I would be stacking Yoda lightsabers.
Yeah.
And if you think I'm dumb for it, I don't care, because 5 years from now, when you rent it off me for $1,000, I'm going to remind you that I got it on sale for $13.
Yeah. He's going to send you the link to this video.
I think the only way that this could go south is if they release new models of that same lightsaber. And I'm curious if they would do that. I'm more on the optimistic side because of the commission sales. There's so many of them right now, and they can get residuals for this one. So it's important to increase the value of these individual lifesavers they have up right now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
They will release more.
Yes, that's the thing.
But there's a big but.
Yeah.
And this is where the collectors in us come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Are these originals? Are these second releases, third releases, 10th releases?
Yeah.
Do you want and that's the cool thing about NFT technology is we know exactly.
You can prove it.
The other thing that I don't really see people talking about a lot is that you guys get super popular in the next 5 years. Like, you guys are the biggest celebrities on the planet.
And we're not.
Well, you guys are getting there. You guys are getting close. But in 5 years, you guys are like rock stars of the digital Web3 collectible NFT space. Like, just billions of followers. You guys are like the rock gods. And guess what? Like, I bought one of your Yoda lightsabers for $13. And it says this was owned by Comics and Crypto. And so like that's the cool thing about like NFT technology. Like you have that built in. And so like, we look at mint numbers and is it a first appearance? Is it a first edition? Is it a mint number? We look at all those things, but 2 or 3 years from now, you're gonna start looking at, well, who owned this? Well, this Hermes was owned by the Queen of England, and why is it worth so much more? Well, because it was hers, and the NFT, the token says she owned it. And so there's going to be that provenance built in too. And so there's just so much stuff. That's why we can't like squeeze this all in an hour. Like, I was thinking we should do an 8-hour stream or something.
How much do you think a previously owned Rainbow Lab that owned by Taylor Swift would sell for? Like, seriously, now.
Exactly.
Like, think about that. People would lose their minds over that.
Yeah.
They would lose their minds.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that's already happened in the physical world for years. Like, somebody who's owned something.
Exactly.
Like, oh, this was owned by that person.
Literally, perfect example right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The turtles.
Yeah. So this example right here. So this is
how do I make it? How do I make it Sean? How do I make it Sean?
That
was great.
It's better.
It's
getting worse. It's getting worse. Oh God.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Let's do this. All right. So this was it's a sealed VHS collection, and it's graded by AFA. But what's different about this is that it was owned by Mark Friedman. So you see right here, right there, it says from the Mark Friedman collection. And probably a lot of people out there are like, who's Mark Friedman? Well, Mark Friedman was the guy that went to Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman after the first comic was released and said, I want to turn the Turtles in a multi-million-dollar brand.
Yeah.
And he's the reason why the animation show was made. He's the reason why the movie was made. He was involved in all the toys.
All the toys, yeah.
All the toys, everything.
The commercialization of Turtles is because of him. Yeah.
Yeah. And this was owned by him from his collection. And this is why I bought it with Spencer and Kev. Because we wanted to own this because we're such a big fan of the Turtles and we love this so much, but it's owned by the guy. He calls himself the fifth turtle. It's pretty awesome. I mean, he like I'm really trying to get him on the podcast. Yeah. And he's So if you've ever seen a show on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us, you've got to watch that episode with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It'll blow your mind. You'll get a fast track lesson on how the turtles were created. And and Mark Friedman is in it consistently, so you'll get a good idea of who he is. But yeah, to your point, that's happening in the physical space already, and it's a huge deal. People pay a premium. The first Back to the Future tape that sold for $75,000 was owned by Thomas F. Wilson, who played Biff.
Yep.
And people are like, well, how much value did that really put on that tape? I think a lot. It was the first tape that was sold.
But also, it adds a ton of value, though.
Yeah.
It adds a ton of value. A ton of value. Like first prints right now, there's less than I think 10 known in existence, according to some of our resources. Less than 10. And his is one of the first ones that sold, but also was owned by Biff, the guy, the villain of the entire franchise. So what a special, he's such a cool guy. He was great.
Oh, he's awesome.
But yeah, this is all really cool stuff. I mean, and especially on the blockchain technology, you'll be able to identify it like that. There's a lot of NFTs right now that are owned by a lot of celebrities, especially like Bored Apes.
Yeah.
If they ever sell their Bored Ape, that's gonna be a special thing for people.
Yep, 100%.
Well, guys, this is a great stream. I know there are a lot of other examples I didn't get a chance to get through, but this was awesome, guys. It was
this
a lot
is
of
just
fun.
the first.
This is so fun.
We can do more of these.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna do more of these. Yeah, definitely more of these. So, So remember again, tomorrow we have an amazing announcement. Tomorrow it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think I don't know what time it's gonna be. Sometime in the morning PST. It's gonna be on our YouTube channel. It's gonna be on our YouTube channel. So make sure to keep an eye out for the announcement. We're gonna tweet it out in a little bit. But I look forward to that. And thanks again, everybody, for joining. And Jason, UpUpCrypto, you're the man. Love you, buddy.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for everyone joining. If you haven't subscribed, or if you're not following UpUpCrypto, make sure you do so. His information is down in the details. And also, subscribe to this channel. Why not? Watch some more content.
Do it.
Give this video a like. Why not?
And go get some Yoda lightsabers.
Yeah, go buy lightsabers. All of the lightsabers.
Save some for the rest of us.
Actually, speaking of which, guys, we should buy some lightsabers.
Not financial advice.
We should stack away $13. That's nothing.